Hello, everyone. Welcome to Senior Project Podcast, the podcast that will bring you to explore the unexpected sides of the society through fairy tales. And now you are with me. I am Nasura Lidahami. So, first of all, when we talk about materialism, what is the first thing that comes up in our head? We probably think about materials, money, wealth, possession, and any other materialistic stuff. Yes, it's true. Materialism, according to the Oxford Dictionary, it is the belief that money, possession, and physical comfort are more important than spiritual values. In the philosophical view, it is the belief that only material things exist. Materialism was waived rapidly by modernism, and it does not affect only in the specific time in the past, but still nowadays. Therefore, if we look around, materialism is really close to us. It really describes today's society. In Oscar Wilde fairy tale, The Nightingale and the Rose represents materialism deeply. A study of Sumbul 2014 stated that Wilde wrote his stories and essays to reflect and criticize the socio-economic inequality in the society of Victorian era when capitalism took place inescapably due to the Industrial Revolution. At that time, people placed materials to the top of everything. The absolute was considered only in the shape of materials, while tried to scope that what brings materialism to human and what shapes human to become materialistic. In The Nightingale and the Rose, if we explain the consequences by using Marxist theory, we can see that there is some factors that inevitably drive humans to become materialistic. Oscar Wilde started the exposition with flashing back of the time that the student, the protagonist, was asked a red rose by the professor's daughter as a requirement to dance with her. The student was crying for his poor as he doesn't have any red rose in his garden at all. The story moved to the rising action, which when the creation in the garden heard the weeping of the student and feel disdainful, but there is only the nightingale who understands him. The rising action waved to when the nightingale decided to help to sacrifice her life to get the red rose for the student. The student has a red rose and is happy with it without knowing that it comes from the sacrifice of the life of the nightingale. So the climax reaches when the student goes to give the professor's daughter the red rose, but the plot twists because it is rejected. The professor's daughter claims that she has got a jewel from the chamberlain's nephew. So the following action is flowing when the student feel angry and feel done with this kind of business and step back to work on his academic study. If we look through the story thoroughly, we can probably see the materialistic character only in the professor's daughter, but if we take a look a bit deeply, we will see that materialism is everywhere in the story, especially in the student himself. And Marxist theory can explain the materialism in the story deeply and explicitly. So, two Marxist theories that can be used to explain the materialistic phenomenon in the story. Let's start with the first one, which is genetic structuralism. This theory is actually the combination of structuralism and Marxism, aiming to describe the social structure which consists of two different classes division. Moreover, people who live in this genetic structuralism consider their success in jumping out of the lower class based on the material development. So through the story, we can see that there is class division appear. The professor's daughter is a person considered as an upper class person since her lifestyle and family that she came from, showing us pretty clear that she's not a lower class person. Comparing to the student, even though he is a student being in an environment of academic, but concerning to his problem, he's not a rich person. He doesn't have any red rose in his garden, but if he is rich enough, he has money, he can find a red rose somewhere else. So all he can do just weeping and crying for what he doesn't have. If we take a look a bit deeply, we can see that while narrated the story from the exposition to rising action to show the need of a red rose of the student increasingly. The student seems to give up fighting the red rose even though he really wants to dance with the professor's daughter. He keeps complaining and weeping for the red rose. The student himself now believes that a red rose can overcome and win the love of the professor's daughter. He seems to believe in red rose rather than in real love of himself. That's why he tries to have a red rose and cries a lot for what he doesn't have. Here we can see that the student wants to have what the professor's daughter, an upper class person, wants to have. We can see that the student is struggling from what he doesn't have due to not being rich enough. So he tries to have the red rose in order to show that he is able to treat the professor's daughter as same as people in her level can do. So this part clearly represents how people in lower class try to jump out their status in genetic structuralism, which is the main reason of shaping people to become materialistic involuntarily. So the second Marxist theory, which is Marxist philosophical materialism, is going to be used to explain the materialistic behavior of the student. And according to S.P.P 2009, Marx believed that it is actually the action of people, not the ideas, moving man closer to the absolute. As standing opposite of idealism, Marx believed and developed his worldview based on materialism. Materialist doctrine in Marxist view is the belief that matter comes before everything and material world goes beyond all consciousness. To Marx, the absolute is the material condition. S.P.P 2014 again stated that people from genetic structuralism interpret their success only by looking at the materialist progress. After being asked for a red rose, the student is crying because he really wants a red rose, but there is no way to get it. On what little things happiness depend. I have read all that the wise men have written, and all the secret of philosophy the mind, yet for want of a red rose is my life made wretched. This quote said by the student at the beginning of the story. This can show that he is now putting the highest condition of happiness on having materials, which is a red rose. Moreover, at the rising action, when the Nightingale finally brings a red rose to him, to the garden, but he doesn't know about it. He doesn't know where the red rose comes from. As S.P.P 2014 again, he claimed that the Marxist philosophical materialism is the world of material, goes beyond all consciousness, and to Marx, the absolute is only the material condition. While narrate and characterize the student as the one now become a person who is kind of ignorant. He points only on a red rose. He doesn't even question what about the Nightingale or doesn't even notice the Nightingale. Importantly, at the end of the story, when he gets rejected, he comes up with the conclusion that love is a stupid thing and he goes back to study. So throughout the story and the explanation by using Marxist theory, it can be assumed that the student is shaped to become materialistic by the rule and the external portrayals of the society. Therefore, culture, values, portrayals, and structure of the society formation can really affect our perception and living ways. And these are not because of the consequences of the past leading humans to suffer and struggle from the rule. It seems that we are playing someone's game, and if we still don't question in the inequality in our society or do nothing with it, we are the owners who suffer from our own rule. Absolutely, we are not suffering only today, but we will suffer continuously. We are what we do. As Karl Marx said, history does nothing. It does not possess immense riches. It doesn't fight battles, but human. It's human, real living who do all this. Thank you so much and see you next time.